Alright students, for this activity you're going to need a pencil with an eraser, a ruler, and your sketchbook, and I want you to be on page 24. If you have a drawing on page 24, then turn it over and do it on the back side. Alright, I'm going to say pause the video and press play once you're ready. Now that you're ready, we can get started. I'll pick up these things. And what we're going to do is turn our sketchbook to the side, and we're going to put it in landscape mode. So landscape mode is when the page is longer than taller, and it sort of looks like a landscape, like if you were to make a landscape painting, or if you were to see your TV, it's sort of in landscape mode. So we have our binding at the top. We have this perforated edge at the top that we're going to use for our drawing, and we're going to get started. Today we are doing a 1-point perspective drawing, and for that we need to make a horizon line. So what I'm going to do is just take my ruler to the top of the page, lining it up with this line, the perforated edge, and then lining up with this edge of the paper. And we hold it nice and firm. Remember, we want to hold our ruler so that it can get pressure all the way across. And what I'm going to actually do is hold it sort of like this and make a line underneath. Oop, that might be a little bit harder too. We can do it even easier. Just turn it this way, line it up, hold, and draw a light line, like so. Then we need to get the top edge, so we're going to line it up. Just make this super easy, and draw the line across. So now we have a horizon line, and we need to put a vanishing point straight dab onto this piece of paper. So if we're measuring, and I'm going to use this little 0 mark right here, so I'm going to have to hang it over the page just a little bit, the ruler, to get lined up. And so right here is 8 inches, and I'm going to make a little mark right there. And then I just got to measure from that mark with a 0 line, and it is 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So I know that if I put my ruler right on the edge of the paper, have the 0 line up with the edge of the paper, and go over to 5 right here, that is where my vanishing point needs to be, right on the 5. Take my eraser, erase this little line right there. What we're going to do in this 1-point perspective drawing is make sort of a road and have that road come out. So what I'm going to make is 2 diagonal lines, and I'm going to use the vanishing point to come down to the bottom. Now, I could just freehand it, but I think measurements really help. And so I'm going to measure, 5 is our middle point, and I'm using the edge of the paper here. I want my road to be, let's be at the 7, so that's 2 inches from the 5, and 2 inches over from the 5 on the left side will be 3. So I want my roads to come out that far on either side. So I'm going to take my vanishing point, line it up with my mark I made down here. I'm checking it twice. I'm going to hold my ruler nice and firm so it doesn't slip. I'm going to draw a line straight down. And then I'll go over here to this side, find my vanishing point, the most very important point, and then I'm putting it right on that line that I made that mark. I'm checking twice and draw straight down. Now I got this lovely road that we can travel down. What roads need are some sidewalks next to it, because we're going to have some pedestrians walk here. So I'm going to use my ruler again. I know that this is 3, that's 2, so I'm going to make a mark at 2 right here. My 0's lined up, and then I know this is 7, and I'm just going to make a mark at 8, and then I'll take my line on my vanishing point and line it up with this dot I'd made over here, and make another line, and we got ourselves a sidewalk. I'll do the same on this side, right here, like so, and make sure to hold your ruler firm. I like to check a couple times before I make a line, just to make sure. And there. Now we have two sidewalks. Now sidewalks aren't flat, they kind of have some depth to them. So what I'm going to do is take my ruler again. Let's see, this was on 7. So I'm just going to go over a tick. Actually, I don't even need a ruler. I'm going to measure this one. I'm just going to make it a little bit wider here to show depth, okay? So I'm going to take my ruler, just move it over to how tall do I want these sidewalks to be? So I'm taking the vanishing point, and I think that's a good height. And now that is the height of the sidewalk. So now it's lifted up a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I want to make this height the same over here because consistency is key. And so, boom. Now, these aren't real sidewalks, but we need to make them look even more realistic. So what we're going to do is take our ruler and line it up with one edge of our paper here, like so. So I'm lining up the edge of the ruler with the edge of the paper. I'm going to hold it nice and firm. Then I'm going to make a line between those diagonal lines. Now, you can see I went over this line, so I need to erase a little bit. And now we're getting the crack of the sidewalk. We can take our ruler as well, do it again on this side, making sure, checking. It's all about creating the illusion of making this, and so one line off can ruin the illusion, like so. So all of our horizontal lines have to be absolutely straight, side to side. If not, I'll show you. If a kid was to do this, does that look right? It starts looking like our sidewalk is twisting, and we don't want that. We want it to look completely correct. So what I'm going to do again, line up. I'm going to move my ruler down a little bit, line it up with the edge of the paper, and hold it nice and firm. And make a horizontal line here, another horizontal line here. And you can see I skipped those inside diagonals. We'll get to those in a bit. But I'm spacing out. I'm creating a sidewalk. So I'm going to move them down a little bit further. And as I move them down, I'm getting shorter distance. So this is this much distance, that's that much distance, and I'm making it just a little bit shorter every time, the distance between the two. And that's going to give the illusion that these are getting smaller and smaller as we go further back. I mean, if I made it like this right here, does that look right? No, that doesn't. It doesn't look right at all. But we'll do this one right here. Does that look right? I think it does. So depending on where you put them, it's going to mean a whole lot. It's going to make this whole thing stand out even more. So let me make this line here. That's looking pretty good. And then this line actually looks like it's in a great spot for our next one. And then we can go down a little bit more. And making these horizontal lines all at the same time makes it super easy to just work efficiently to get this sidewalk looking like it's going back in distance. Going back in distance. It goes on and on and on and on. And these little lines. Like that. They're just going back in distance. You can also do this for train tracks exactly the same way. Now that we have all these lines going horizontally, we need to make some vertical lines to really sell this illusion. And the way we're going to make a vertical line is use that perforated edge at the top, and we're going to line up our ruler right on the top there. We're going to find one of these little corners that we made. I'll show you down here. We're going to find one of these little corners right here that we made. So line it up with the top. Yes, that looks right. I'm going to just draw a straight line down to connect that. So So that straight line down, that vertical line, is going to give that illusion that there's a solid curb corner right there. So we'll do the same here, making sure that's straight. So you definitely have to make sure that all your lines are straight, because that's what's going to help this illusion. I'll show you on the next one. So those three are straight, but the next one, if I made it any bit crooked, it starts wonking up and making this completely unnecessary and ruins the illusion that you've worked so hard for already. So we're just going to go down the line, lining up your ruler at the top the whole way down, and this will give the illusion that there is space there. Space in the sidewalk, that you could hop your bike up on that curb. Do the same over here. Line up my ruler. And if you're left-handed, you hold your ruler on the other side. And just go down the line like so. And you got a wonderful curb. You can put in some value if you want to show shadow, but we'll get into that later, okay? We will, because we need to figure out the sun. I'm just going to make this line a little bit darker so y'all can see it at home. All right, so we got a curb, we got a road. What we need now is some buildings and houses on the road. So what we're going to start with is, let's just say a little house right here, okay? The way that we're going to do that is take our ruler, figure out which way we want it. I'm going to say I want to do the bottom of the house. I want a house that has an edge right here. So I'm going to put my ruler right there, and I'm going to say I want about 1.5 inches. That house side is going to be 1.5 inches. That way they have a little bit of yard here, a side yard, and a backyard. Doesn't look like it right now, but that's what we're going to build. So I'm going to take the ruler at the top of my page with my ruler right here on the edge, and I'm going to say this house is, let's just say about this tall, okay? About that tall. It's just an L right now, but what we're going to do is take our ruler yet again from the edge, right there. I know it goes 1.5 inches because I already measured it. I'll take this ruler from the top with our straight line, and we got our little self square. That square is going to be the basis of what we're building here, okay? So I'm going to take my ruler here, and I'm going to line up on my vanishing point. I'm going to find the corner of this box right here. I'm going to draw a light line because I'm going to erase most of that line later on once I'm done. Then I'll take this corner of this box, and I'll go to the vanishing point to that corner. My ruler. Okay, those diagonal lines, remember all diagonal lines go to the vanishing point. And then this corner, I'm going to take it from the vanishing point to the corner. Now that is going to give us this long box just getting stretched out there. Now we got to figure out how long or how wide we want this box. So I'm going to take my ruler right here, put it on the side of that corner I made, and I'm going to line it up with the top. And I'm just going to move it over. Do I want that skinny? No, I want it longer, I want it wider, and I want a couple people to live in here, so I want it about right there. So I'll line up my ruler on the top there. I'll make a vertical line between these two diagonal lines right here, like so. Now, since we got this little corner being made, all I have to do is take my ruler, line it up with the edge of my paper, and then find that corner right here, and then I'm going to take this line to this corner and then stop. I got myself a box. I can erase these lines that are coming from the vanishing point that go to the corner of the box. So there's one, and here's another one right there, and then I'm going to erase this one carefully, not to erase my sidewalk I worked so hard on. There you go. Boom. I got a floating box. Well, not floating box, it's sitting here. We need to connect this box to the sidewalk. Someone needs to be able to walk into this box. So what I'm going to do is find this sidewalk right here, and I'm going to take that line I made, and use the edge of my paper to make another line to that box. And I'll go up to the next line and do the same thing to that box. Now it looks like there's a little pathway there, but I want to separate this. Now if I took a vertical line right here and tried to separate it, does that look like it's even? Does that look like it's selling the illusion? No, it's not. So we're gonna have to erase that one. And it's okay to erase. Erasing just gets us closer to what we want to make. So what I want to do is actually, for this, to sell the illusion, is take my vanishing point right there, get my ruler on it, and then figure out where would be a good place to put this line, this little line right there, and there's the line. And that line looks like it's more in perspective, because it's going to actually be a diagonal line and not a straight down, up and down line. Now we need to build a door, so what I'm going to do is use this corner right here, and I'm going to take my ruler to the top of the page, and I'm going to draw a door up, like so. I like that door. And then the other side of that door, I need to take my ruler, line it up with the top of the page, and draw straight up. Now, we got the two sides, but we need to get that top side. And if I took my ruler like this, and drew a line like that, does that make that door look like it's in perspective? No, no it doesn't. We have to do the same thing that we did here, and I'm gonna erase that line here. We're gonna take the top door of the door frame. Actually, I want to make it a little shorter, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm going to draw from here to the vanishing point, but I'm just gonna stop when I get to the edge of the door, the other edge of the door. And that's gonna give me a nice little door that people can walk into. I can erase that top part of that line if there's this one. I got myself a little door there. I can make this into a store door by putting like a bar on it. Maybe it's like a shoe store. People go in, you push that bar. I can make a little handle for it. Like maybe it's one of those doors you hold when you like pull open. So I'm just gonna take my ruler, line it up with the top of the paper, and put a little handle on it. This door. This door also, this box thing also needs some windows. So I'm gonna make some windows. I'm gonna put a window right next to the door. So I'm using my top of my page, the perforated edge, giving some space between my door frame and the door frame and the window, and then some space from the ceiling and some space from the floor. And instead of drawing the other side right away, I'm just going to draw my diagonal lines going to the vanishing point from the top, bottom, and from the top of that line I made. And now I can figure out how wide I want that door by making another vertical line. So I have my ruler at the top. I'm just going to move it over until I feel like it's right and draw a vertical line. And there's my window, and I can erase those vertical or those diagonal lines, and then erase it inside here to give them some space. Now I got myself a window and a door. I want to put a window over here, a nice big one. So I'm actually going to take my ruler, and I'm going to find that bottom line and line it up with the edge of the paper. Move it up, 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 up. Give it some space. I'm going to figure out, I kind of want a big window, so I'm going to draw it really wide, but not have it touch the edge of the building. Then I'm going to take my two vertical lines on both sides, line it up here at the top, figure out how tall I want it, and I'll do the same here. And then all I have to do is a horizontal line across the top here by lining up with the edge of my paper, and across we go. And we got ourselves like a little store that people can go in. If we think that door's too big, all we have to do is go in and make it a little smaller. You can just erase what you don't need. There you go. So that is creating a space for like maybe a shoe store or a house. If I want to put a window on the other side, I can take that window I already made, like so, right here, bottom of that window, and bring it over here. And then I take it to the top. And see, there's this window right here. right here. I'm going to take it over here. And I get the top of those windows. And I just need 2 vertical lines. And I got a window. This is looking beautiful. Now, let's say you want to put a roof on this. You're like, this needs to be a house, and this is not in California or Arizona. It's rainy, it's in the Pacific Northwest. We need to put a roof on here. So what we're gonna do is take our ruler and measure this house. We know it's 1.5 inches, so we need to divide it in half. So 1.5 inches is what? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So I need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's right where I want to put my mark, right on the 12. I'm just counting these little marks, and that's going to give me the center part of that little square I made. Then what I'm going to do is take my ruler to that mark I just made, and then line up my ruler at the top of the page, and I'm going to draw a line lightly up as high as I want it to be, how high I want the roof to be, okay? Then what I'm going to do is take my vanishing point, lined up with the top of that line, like so. I'm just going to draw a line across like that. Now this is going to be the top of our roof. Now, we're going to need to make sort of, we got to kind of break the rules here. And I hope you're okay with breaking rules. It only works sort of for this application. We're going to take this top of this corner right here and connect it to this line right there, like so. And then we're going to do the same on the other side, like so. And that's going to give the pitch of the roof. Now, what we're going to do is use this pitch of the roof that we made and move it down to this last corner right here. So we get the same angle of the roof. So all I did was take my ruler, put it on that angle that I made, and then I'm going to pull it down all the way to this corner. And I'm going to make a line right there. And then I'm going to erase this line that's going from the vanishing point to the house roof. Now I got pitch of a roof, but it doesn't look so much like a roof because we got this sort of lines. We need to erase some things. So we're going to erase this line right here. And if you need to, pause the video anytime you need to. I'm going to erase this line right here. But we're going to stop at the edge of the roof here so we don't draw on it. Then we're going to erase this vertical line going up and down here because we don't want to see it unless the house is like being built. And then we're going to erase this diagonal line right here. This is going to give us a house that is in perspective. Now, a house is pretty good, but we need to protect it from the elements, so it needs siding. So I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with the horizon line, and I'm just going to move it slightly down as I go. When I get to the windows and the door, I'm going to skip the window, skip the door, and just draw a line each time. And I'm moving it down, trying them at the same increments every time, just a little bit, so it looks the same everywhere I draw. This can give you that effect of putting siding on a house, just like so. Oops. If you do draw through something like the door, you're just going to have to erase it, okay? Like I did there. So I'm going to erase that siding that I put on the door. And then I got siding on the side of the house. But a house doesn't just have siding on one house, it has siding on every house. So I'm going to make those lines that I took from the diagonal from the vanishing point, and I'm going to line them up and line up my ruler with the edge of the house, or the side of the paper here, and then take that line and draw it over. And then I'll go down to the next one, lining up my lines, holding my ruler nice and tight here, go over, Then go to the next one, go over, now we'll go down to the next one. This one seems that. Just working our way. I'm just giving this illusion that it has siding. If you were to add color, it'd fill it in a little bit. Oops. There we go. So it's got siding now. All right. Roof's gonna have some shingles on it, right? Oh, there's usually siding at the top too, up in here. So we can do some siding up here as well. Just by moving our like that. Some siding on this top. We need some shingles at the top for this roof. So we're going to start at the top of the roof line and draw across. And yes, it looks like siding right now because it's the same technique. So we're just going to use them to sort of cheat. We're not really cheating, we're just making it easier on ourselves. When you add color or value to it, it will really stand out. So you have those. I'm going to make the edge of the house really clear. So I'm just going to darken up that line a little bit so I know where it stops. And you'll see where it stops too. And so for these ones, what I can do is just sort of write W or like little U's on them like that. And makes them sort of look like tiles, a little wavy line like that on the roof. You might skip a few because sometimes those shingles on the roof aren't all together, and you might go back to making these wavy lines. You might skip a few. You might go some wavy lines again. I might skip a whole row, and then you got yourself a roof. If we need to put things in later on, we'll put some more things in. I think this house is kind of lonely. We need to add more to it. I feel like maybe we should learn how to do like a business complex, like someone needs to go to work. So this person lives here and they want to work right over here. So what we're going to do, and like that doesn't make sense in city planning. I get it. I know. You wouldn't have residential next to commercial. It just doesn't work that way. But in this, it's a made-up drawing. We can do it our way. So what I'm going to do is make a residential or a commercial building, like an office building. So I'm just going to draw a line right here, have however long I want that commercial building, and then I'll take the top of my page. I'm going to draw a line straight down from the height I want this. It's like a short, squat building. Take my ruler over there, draw over to where I think it's about, and I will go, yeah, I need to make it a little bit smaller so I can make these adjustments just like you will be able to when you're looking at. Make sure that my ruler's lined up at the top. Check in, holding firm, drawing down. Okay, that's better building. So I'm going to erase the parts I don't need. This is why we're drawing lightly. And erase there. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is erase this line inside of that box. It's the horizon line, but if you were in a building, you wouldn't see that, and we need to make this building a little bit more firm. So I'll erase that. Like so. Now, just like this box, we're going to connect these corners with the vanishing point. So, line up my ruler with the vanishing point and the corner of the building, and I'm drawing a light line to it. I'll do the same at the bottom. Oh, that line is not to it. It's below it, so I need to erase it and do it again. So it's really important that you line up your vanishing point with the corners, because So that's what's going to sell this illusion. Remember, us artists love to lie, and we want to make a convincing lie. So then we'll go from this corner to the vanishing point. And we'll hold our ruler firm, draw a light line. And that's going to give the side of the building. Now, for the side of the building, take our ruler, line it up with this edge of that building and the top of the perforated edge. We're going to figure out how wide we want it to be. I'm thinking right there. That's good. Line it up, draw a line down. Now what we're going to do is erase this top line that's going from the corner of that to the vanishing point, and then we'll take this bottom diagonal line, go across. We're going to keep that horizon line on the outside of the building, but on the inside of the building, we need to erase it. So now we have a cube that is just there. We need to make this an actual office building. So what I'm going to do is put some doors in right here. And because this is closer to us, it's going to look bigger. And this is further away because it's further, or it's closer to the vanishing point, it's going to look smaller. And so I can make these doors even smaller by taking my ruler, line up with the top, figuring out where these doors are going to be. I'm just eyeballing, I'm not measuring it now. You can measure it to get it centered completely the way you want it. I'm thinking I'm going to do a double door right here. I need a door line right there. That looks sort of like a double door. It's not centered in the building, and I don't like it. I just don't. So I'm just going to take some time, measure out this building, and I'm going to use inches. It's close to 2. So if 2 is half, this would be it, but then it's 1, 2, 3 over. So you go 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be where half is of that square. Right? Let me look. Sorry. I think it's actually right here for me. So that looks right. So now I'll draw some vertical lines. So this is going to be the center one where the doors meet. And then this is where I'm going to put the other door. And then this is where I'm going to put the other door. And then I'm going to make a horizontal line by lining up the edge of my paper and the ruler. Draw it over, erase what I don't need. And now I got a double door for an office building. And I can even put in those kind of push doors. I put a line there so that you push through. And so we got office space. I'm going to put some windows in. So I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with the edge of the paper here. And I'm going to make some big windows right here across. That looks like they're a little too high because the doors are that high. So I need to go a little bit lower with my windows, like here. That looks better as height for a window. It's coming off the ground. Make them a little bit taller than the door. By using those vertical lines lined up with the edge of the paper. I'm going to take my horizontal line and I'm going to draw them across. And I got 2 windows for Workspace in an office building. Now this Workspace has many floors because lots of people work here. So I'm just going to take my ruler and line up with the edge of my paper and make a horizontal line. And I'm going to make another one right below it. So this is going to represent the floor of the building. So this is first floor. I'll go up a bit, I think. Need headroom for my employees here. That's some good headroom there. I'll make another line too. So I have first floor, second floor, third floor. Plenty of room to work. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is take these lines I made on the corners and line them up with the vanishing point and draw diagonal lines, but I'm going to stop at the edge of the building, like so. I'll go to the next one that I made and do check and do the same thing. And that's going to take that floor all the way around. And I'll do the same up here. And you can see I had to tilt my ruler in the opposite direction because it's going to tilt down this time to give me that angle in perspective of that office building. I'll do that again. Now we have a building with floors. Now that building with floors needs some windows for these office workers. So I am going to take my ruler, line up with this bottom line here on the first floor, and move it up a little bit. I'm not going to have it touch the side of the buildings, but I'm just going to move it in just a little bit on both sides, and then pause before it touches. I'll go to the top of that ball box and go down a bit. There's that. And then what I can do is take my ruler, get some horizontal lines here, or vertical lines, draw some vertical lines. We got a window for an office. People can look out, they can see. I'm gonna do the same at the top that I just did. So come up a little bit, and then draw a line that doesn't touch the edges. Go from the top down, draw another line, and then I will go with my horizontal or vertical lines on the edges here. And I can use the ones I did before. And I'll give me some windows on the top of this building. Let's put some windows on the side of these buildings. So I'm using that line that we made before and draw it between those two vertical lines by using the vanishing point. I'm going to take the window line of the top there to the right there to the vanishing point. I'm going to draw it like that. And I will get two diagonal lines that are perfectly in perspective. I'm going to make two vertical lines where the window is going to meet, like so. And now it looks like there's got a window on the side of this building. Do the same with that top one. Draw a line, and draw another line, and draw a vertical, and another vertical. Now I got an office space that people can work in, hang out with. If I want to make these individual windows, just need to take my lines and space them out. Like so. And now I got office windows. If I want office windows here, do the same thing. Now this one is a lot like the sidewalks. As I move down closer to the vanishing point, I have to make them a little closer together. Now I got windows here, windows here, windows here, and door. We need some windows on this side. So it's the same thing. Taking that corner right there, lining it up with your vanishing point, and drawing the line in. And then taking that top corner of that window and draw the vanishing point. And then we'll just do a vertical line and another vertical line. And now we have a whole office building ready for workers to come in and work. Now, we think we do. We actually need a walkway. They can't just walk on the grass. The boss is going to get upset. So what we need to do is take our ruler and go from this corner here of the door, line it up with that corner of the door and the vanishing point, and draw a line out, like so. And then we need to go from the other edge of the door, line up with our vanishing point, go for the line out, and that's going to give us a little walkway. And we can take our ruler right here, line it up on the edge of our paper, get a horizontal line, and then we'll do another one here to get the break of the sidewalk. And we actually probably need to go a little bit further with these lines, like so. That's the best thing about working in pencil. If you need to, adjust things. You have your eraser there, however you need. Now we're going to connect this to this sidewalk. So I'm going to take these lines right here, line it up with our sidewalk line, and draw a line over. That's giving us a corner there to work with. And so I'm going to then connect that by extending this one out just a little bit more. That's going to give us a corner to walk over to. So I'm going to take this line right here, because I want it to be the width of it, and I'm going to line up my edge of the paper here with that line and extend it out like so. And I'll take my ruler, line up this edge right here with the line I've already made. Check, check, draw it out. And now, so let me correct that last little part. There we go. Now it's got this illusion that we're going to make a sidewalk. So to make the sidewalk, what we're going to do is draw this line across, and then we need to extend this line right here, this diagonal line, all the way back. So it makes this little rectangle pad there. And then what we're going to do is actually use this diagonal line a lot. So from the vanishing point, we are going to make a line here. I'll move the ruler down a little bit and make another line here, keeping my ruler on the vanishing point. Make another diagonal line here, move it down a little bit more, make another line, make another line. Boom, now we got people to be able to walk into this establishment and get to work. They can cross the street. What we can do for the street is take this. I'm actually going to measure this because I want it to be exactly right. So this is 5 inches. So I'm going to make a line going straight up and down lightly. That's going to be the divider of the street. And so I'm just going to make a line on the side of that just a little bit, and a line on the other side of it just a little bit. And that's going to give me spaces to build. That's a little thick, so I'll erase that. Go again, just a little bit right there. So this is going to allow me to have one lane going this way, one lane going this way. If I want to break those up and make them into sort of like squares so that people can pass on the lane, I will take my ruler, make a horizontal line, then break it up, make another horizontal line, go a little bit longer here, break it up. And so now I can erase this little section here. And I'm getting a little dashed line. I'll move my ruler down a little bit. Keep going. So I'm gonna erase this line right here. And it's easier to do it this way because, like you can see, I didn't leave a space in between that one. And so now I have to go back, leave a space, then draw that side. And so that's one. And I'll just keep going down till we, that's the top, so I need a space now. Then I need another one. So I can erase, space, then go down a little bit. Erase, and they're going to get smaller and smaller as they go back. So, just erase that. This might be a good way of doing it too. You get what I'm saying. So you have a dashed line all the way down. We have our building, we have our house. We should probably put in some shadows. So I'm gonna imagine the sun is right here. It's like a nice sunny day. Yeah, sun. And I should say this, a lot of kids, when they're drawing pictures, this is your piece of paper, you can see that if a kid, how much they've noticed things if they're drawing. If it's like a day outside and they draw the sun like this is sort of what we expect younger kids to do, because that is sort of where the sun is, just sort of out of their reach. The sun actually is a giant circle. And so you're gonna see it like this most likely, or this, because it travels. And so if you don't want your artwork to look amateur, you're gonna have it more of a sphere or like a half circle, okay? So we're gonna say the sun is setting down the road. So that's gonna give us some nice shadows, okay? And for shadows, all we have to do is use the vanishing point and the edge of our building, like so. There's a shadow. And on this side, there's a shadow. So that's gonna be the shadow of this house. For the building, same thing. Take the corner of the building, draw a line out, that's a shadow. Take the line from the other side, that's a shadow. So then all we have to do is take the side of our pencil, and when I say side of the pencil, I mean actually the side of it. We're gonna lay it flat on the paper like so. And then all we have to do is hold it. Now this is the best way to hold the pencil when shading, is pinching it and then wrapping your fingers around the edge, and then using the side of the pencil to make little circles like so. I'm gonna fill it in with some value here, and that will give it some, and you can see I'm doing little circles because I'm not wanting lines. If I did like streaky lines, it would stand out more. And I want this to be a soft blend. And now it's gonna be darker right here at the bottom, so I wanna make more value right here at the bottom of this, like that. And this whole side of the building is gonna be dark, so I'm gonna use my little circle trick to put in some value on this side of this drawing. Just like this. And it's not only just dark right here, it's all the way to this edge. So little circles. I can rotate my pencil. Rotating the pencil will help, definitely help keep your pencil sharp so you don't have to sharpen it as often. So just by twisting it while you shade with the side of your pencil, it's going to help it last longer and keep your pencil sharpen longer. So now it's like pushing this building out. It's saying, hey, this is where the shadow is, and I want to make sure that this other side doesn't have any shadows on it at all. I can even make this line a little bit darker so we can really see where the side of the building is. Boom. We can even do the bottom of it, because that's going to have like a really dark shadow right there as well. So we're getting that shadow of the building. We got to do the same over here now. So again, we have our line of where the shadow is going to be. It's going to be the darkest, closest to the house. So making little circles. I'll show you what the difference. This is what a lot of kids do, and I fill it in. What looks more realistic, this or that? Hopefully you said that, and not these lines. And when you have those lines, they're hard to blend, and you get really amateur looking drawings. And we don't want to be amateurs, we want to be professionals. So you're just going to do little circles by pinching our pencils and wrapping our finger around it. And then we're just doing little circles. Now I'm not pressing hard, I'm just allowing the pencil and the paper to do most of the work for me, like so. That's going to give me a nice little blend here. If I go over the line, I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. And then as I get further out, it's going to be a little bit softer because shadows dissipate. Dissipate means disappear almost at a slow rate. Don't think that's the actual definition of it, but that's how I think of it. It slowly disappears, sort of like fog in the morning or condensation on your breath. Then because we put the shadow here, this whole side of the house is going to have value to it too. So little circles. Remember, twist your pencil while you're doing it. I'm not pushing hard. Letting the pencil do all the work. Light to no pressure on it. I mean, there's some pressure, but not a lot. The pencil and the lead is doing everything here. Also, make sure you're holding your pencil paper. That's when you get the most control. Fill that in. There we go. Make this a little bit darker down here. So that's where the darkness of this is going to be. Boom. We got two buildings, a house and a building, all working with road, sidewalks, and how to get in there. If we want to add details now, like curtains, let's say I want to really make this back window stand out here. Just going to go through, darken some things up here. I can freehand some curtains in here. I'm gonna go down. Okay, so curtains go down here. And then maybe those curtains are darker. Inside a house. Maybe there's like a couch in there or something, so I can put like the back of a couch.